Captain's Log Supplemental.
Hey Jeremy, you know those race cars you're busy building?
Yeah, I do.
You,
I
you,
got one
you
that I'm looking at every day.
you know what I don't see you working on?
You don't see me working on the amazing Sentinel system yet.
That's true. It would take all of 10 minutes for you to have one.
And it's very quick and easy to install.
It is. It is. And we could watch you when we are not at the race with you and see how you're doing. And then we can call you up when you get out of the car and tell you everything you did wrong.
And I love that because so many years I've been driving and not been able to see what I'm doing.
I know.
And now we can.
I know. You know what I'd like to do with the video? My most favorite thing is I take the video and I load it on YouTube and then I send it to my coach and say, look at 26 minutes and 17 seconds. Look at this one lap and tell me what I can do better. And every single time, you know what they say?
Everything.
Exactly. Precisely. So with the Sentinel system, you get instantaneous feedback plus useful feedback that unfortunately is accurate for my driving.
I think it's accurate for all of our driving.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's probably true. Yep. But you need to get one in your car, sir.
Yes, I do. And with the discount code that you're going to tell everybody, they can save 10% on this awesome system.
Yep. Trouble free. I haven't had an issue getting video every time we've gone out with the Sentinel. It's always worked. Can't say the same for some of the other systems we've tried. So I don't know. It's on the podcast notes down there. Don't do it while you're driving though. We like to have our listeners live. It's good.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
I'm Vicky.
Miss Vicky, returning guest, getting close to
Yes.
5 times, getting close.
Yeah.
I think this is 3 or 4. He's almost got his 5-time jacket on the way, but no, he's got to tolerate us at least one more time. I'll have to check. It might be 2. I don't know. We'll see. Brent Picasso, welcome to the podcast again, sir.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I think the last time we spoke on the podcast, you had just released Tire X, if I remember right. That's what my brain says.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was quite a while ago.
Yeah, that was like pre-plague and all that good stuff.
Wow.
It was. That was an experience.
Yes, yes, nothing like running a business through the plague. Not that that was the biggest issue of the plague, but anyway, it's fine. So, but we talked a couple weeks back, and you have some new cool stuff, and I have some. Well, we're dealing with me, so let's be fair. Semi-educated questions because I got a preview, and Miss Vicky's got the out of the blue, has no idea what we're about to talk about questions.
Yep.
And I think from what I saw, this is something that racing, specifically endurance racing, has needed for a very long time. And I am very excited to see what people think of the additions to the system that you have. So maybe we start with, in case they missed the first couple, what you've been doing, and then we'll start with the new stuff. So, Brent, what have you been doing?
Yeah. So for, wow, I think a good 10 years now, it's like a hobby turned into a business. So I would say a good a good 10 years we've been working on products that emphasize like live telemetry for motorsports. So if you imagine like people, if you can like race a thing a thing with the motor that you might race, we would be able to do live tracking of what that race thing is doing. So like position on track, speed, all the sensors you might throw at it. And our particular niche, I guess, our specialty would be endurance racing for race cars. So if you in the world of racing things, if you think like a Russian nesting doll, you have like things that are raceable and then cars on a road course and then endurance racing on a road course. That's our sweet spot right now with our live telemetry system. So yeah, that's we've been developing the hardware and the software and the platform for doing that, and that's to allow basically racers to do make real-time decisions on how to improve their racing during the race while it matters rather than like after the fact. And that really makes a difference for endurance racing, especially because the race can go, for 8 to 24 hours in length.
Yeah. And it's awfully tough to get out after a 2 or 2.5 hours or longer, sometimes stint, and have your coach go up to you and say, "Hey, do you remember the 16th lap when you were, on turn 7? You really needed,
Exactly.
it's an
Yeah.
impossibility." So, but your stuff solves this problem.
Yeah, there's a few classic use cases that we address, like right from the beginning since we've been doing this. Like our actually like since we've started, we've had like over 2.8 million laps logged or broadcasted live by our customers so far. And yeah, I would say the one of the main value adds is the ability to monitor what the race car is doing in terms of like its engine health and overall vehicle health. The You would be able to like watch to see if the engine's overheating while on track, or if you threw an alternator belt and then your battery is slowly dying. The goal is to be able to catch the issue before they become like a costly race-ending failure. You want to be able to get the car back in pits instead of being stuck on track. And the way to do that is to allow the pit crew to see what the car is up to, and if there's anything that is going out of spec, too high a temperature, or oil pressure is too low, or battery voltage is dropping, then you could radio the driver to come in and fix the issue. And then you have a chance of, getting back out there and possibly still winning the race. Versus like if you have to get towed in, the rest of your race is basically a lapping day
We
for
all know,
endurance
we
racing.
all know we don't have a chance at winning the race, Brent. But thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that we do.
Or at least winning your class. I
Well,
guess it
maybe.
would be winning the race, but
Well,
yeah.
that's fine. It's all good.
Do we're doing our best.
We are,
Yeah.
but maybe our best could be betterer.
Well,
So,
yeah. I mean, the thing is that you might think like, okay, the driver might have some warning lights or some idiot lights on the dashboard, but there's some really interesting failure modes that only the pit crew would be able to analyze. And that's like, so think about this one case. If let's say you're slowly losing oil through a leak, or you're burning it off, and then you have some oil starvation issues in high G corners.
right.
So that's a really interesting one, because your driver they don't have the cognitive bandwidth to deal with something like that, but you might be able to see that on the dashboard you would put in the pits to monitor that information.
I think that was the nicest way of saying we have idiot drivers I've ever heard, Brent, but thank you.
They're just really busy.
They're just busy. They have other stuff to do. Yeah, the last thing I want is my drivers in the cars to not be looking at the other cars or the track. We have enough trouble with that stuff. Never mind, tell me what the oil pressure is in turn 6. Have other
Yeah.
things to do. But your stuff is kind of a. I'm trying to describe it for everybody. It's a system that allows you to live stream with little delay, and also integrate in various uh, data metrics and gauges to both the driver and probably sometimes more importantly the pit crew. So the pit crew can be a second set of eyes to look at things and make sure that, hey, our water temperature is, normally 195 and right now it's 202 and last lap it was 201 and next lap it's 205 and maybe we should bring the car in or things like
Creeping
that.
up, yeah.
Or and then the other thing that I really love is that you can send out the pit could send out a, hey, dummy, big red letters, your engine is going to blow up. Please come in.
You are
Maybe,
on fire.
yes, you are on fire, not the good
Yeah.
way, you know. So those options, speaking as a car owner and just member of the team, nobody wants to blow up their car. Nobody wants their car to break. Nobody wants to have to replace an engine. Nobody, I mean, we go to the track to have fun on track and have fun off track. But, fixing the car, while it can be fun, it's not the primary fun that we're going there looking for.
I know, like all the work you do, like getting the car ready and all the engine work, and like how much time does it take to swap an engine or rebuild heads? It's like if you can just avoid those type of issues, that's just huge because then you could spend more time racing rather than wrenching. I mean, wrenching, it's like doing the fixes at midnight and on Friday before the race. Those are memories that last a lifetime.
Yeah.
But but if you could just be on track instead, that would be a
They're better memories.
You
yeah.
know,
Those are the ones that are
We
seared
refer
in
to
your.
them as expensive garage weekends.
most expensive garage weekend ever.
That's right.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember like we our first Lemons car was a Mercury XR4 Ti, and then it was the Friday. This is the thing that was seared in my head, but like the Friday testing day, this was at Thunderhill Raceway, right? We're like, yeah, the car's working great. We send out a couple of drivers, and then all of a sudden there was some detonation on cylinder number three. And of course, an XR4 Ti has a turbocharged Pinto motor in it, with the cast iron head and block. And we pretty much figured there was some damage to that cylinder or to that piston or something, and you could tell with the four cylinder you can hear with your ear that you've lost compression in one of the cylinders because it has that loping, when you crank it, it's like whoa 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 whoa
Right.
whoa. And then so that evening we're like sitting at Denny's and we're like, what are we gonna do? And we're just like, well, should we just run it till it blows up? And
No.
I was like,
No.
here's what we do. We're gonna pull the injector connector and just run cylinder number three as an air spring, and then it's just gonna be a three-cylinder turbocharged Merkur. So that we ran the whole weekend that way, and it was like it
You
sounded
can
like a
do that?
Harley. Yeah, I mean it had huge amounts of vibration, and
Little,
it
little
was
less power.
a little bit less power, but the turbos somehow compensated a little bit. But yeah, we ran the whole race and we finished in the top third overall. So
I have never heard that ever in
Because we
ever.
never, it's because we never knew it was going bad. We just knew it was bad when it was dead. If we
yeah,
had what Brent has, we would have known.
yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
Well, it's
That's
just like
that's
like
a pro
the
move. Well, no,
Uh,
not well.
what was like
No,
in Top Gun, and like engine one is out, like you like turn off the engine, and you like fly in on you just like continue on just one engine. You're flying a little bit sideways. Sorry, I'm not an aviation expert, but
yeah,
looks
but
like you just run with the remaining cylinders, right? Run with the remaining thrusters.
Mental's cringing in the background.
Sorry.
It's okay. Most of the time, people listen to our podcast are cringing in the background, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
So, what is the system? I guess let's start with that. And what can it do?
Yeah. You
what's
mean
the
what can
system
it do or what
called?
cannot do?
What's the system called?
So we're launching a new product called Podium Connect. So Podium is
Okay.
the basically the website platform where where you look at the data. It's like Strava or Map My Fitness, but for race cars. So, and then the device and the product that we're launching is called Podium Connect Micro. So it's a different variation of our Podium Connect system.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is it's a way to add live telemetry to your existing data system. So if you have an AIM or Motec or ECU Master, basically any modern data acquisition system or dashboard you might have in the car already, this
Mm-hmm.
adds provides a way to add live streaming of that data to that system. So the genesis of that was our Kelly, our co-founder, had this brilliant idea of after we were at PRI in the long ago, we were exhibiting at PRI showing our first gen system and people were like, "This is cool. We're showing off our first gen race capture system with telemetry." They were saying like, "This is cool, but if I got this, it would be like I would have redundant data systems because I already have a data system in my car. So this is like adding a second data system, which is, weird." So Kelly was like, we need something that is just adds telemetry to their existing data system, not do a whole separate data system. So that's where Podium Connect comes from. So this
Hmm.
one, Podium Connect Micro, is like a mini version of the existing system that we have that adds that live telemetry to existing data systems. And the way it works is that it will broadcast that live telemetry over Wi-Fi to a hotspot that you might have in a car, or if you're running Starlink, which is like a thing now in racing, uh, especially with off-road racers, which we've been getting some attention from because of Starlink and well, there'll be other satellite internet providers coming online soon, like Kuiper. But uh, it's assuming that you have like a hotspot in the car or some other internet connectivity, and then it piggybacks off of that, and then it live streams data to Podium from your data system. So the thing is that a lot of people, especially with endurance racing, a lot of people are broadcasting video to YouTube. Um, like they connect their GoPro or they have a V-Box system or like a Sentinel system or something like that, and then
Hmm.
they already have an internet connection in the car. So this kind of piggybacks on that for, as the British would say, a cheap and cheerful solution.
So does it have, because we go to a few racetracks where I'm trying to be nice to AT&T and Verizon and all those guys, where the connectivity is a little spotty.
Yeah.
Does this have a way of storing it on like a memory card as well, or is it only stream?
The focus is primarily streaming, but it does have onboard memory too that it'll record to at the same time.
Okay.
So it you can, and then you'll be able to like fetch those logs off after the fact. Like if there's something goes horribly wrong and there's no connectivity, then you can pull the data afterwards.
Okay. Because usually our stream is a little lower resolution, and then I pull the good one from the car and pop it on,
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah,
have nobody watch it. But it's fine. It's
for
all fine.
sure.
Um, okay, so it's not the telemetry. It's the collector of the telemetry and the integrator of the telemetry with the video, right?
Yeah, so it's specifically designed to be data only, but it handles a ton of data. Like right now, you can broadcast it'll it'll broadcast over 100 channels of data.
Wow.
So yeah, so GPS position, speed, all the engine sensors, any chassis sensors like tire temperature sensors you might have on the car, whatever is available over CAN bus that connects, that comes from your ECU or other parts of the car's sensor network, then it'll be able to ingest that and then it'll broadcast it to Podium so you can view it on the dashboard in the pits.
So the driver can have let's call it a dashboard. I'm envisioning this as some type of tablet-like device in the car that's simpler, and then the pit could have something that's as complicated or as custom as the team would wish.
Oh yeah. So the dashboard in the car is optional. There is a
Okay.
way to do that. Let's say if you have an AIM or ECU master system, your dashboard is like that product, right? That's the dashboard that is like in front of the driver. And then at minimum, you would use Podium Connect, plug it into its CAN bus, and then the data would stream to it and broadcast the live stream. You can also create an auxiliary dashboard using like an Android or iOS device. And then that could be like off to the side from your main dashboard. And that dashboard can be set up to show whatever you'd like predictive time, additional gauges, and then like what you mentioned earlier, the pit to car alerts could pop up on that display. So if the pit crew's like, come in now or you need the box, then that would pop up on that screen as well.
Hmm. So, not that any racers that I know are terribly um, OCD or anal or data driven or looking to get anything that they possibly can to either improve or maintain their car. But just assume there might be one out there. You can almost literally plot, graph, or gauge whatever source of data you want with your system live into the pit so that your, let's call him, what's a technical word for it, Vicky? Let's dumb racing driver. Dumb racing driver. That's a technical word.
No.
Doesn't have to be 100% accurate in where things are, and we can be like the belt and suspenders. And you're almost like belt, suspenders, and a little bead of super glue around the waist, so that those pants aren't going anywhere.
Yeah. So what we typically see our our teams doing is that they will get like a laptop, or if they're feeling spicy, they get like a cheap big screen monitor and hook that up to a computer and kind of hang
Hmm.
that in the pits. And
Hmm.
then they have lots of screen real estate to put all the gauges they want on that screen, charts and um, like all the sensors they have, and then the track map, so they can see what the car's where the car's at in real time, and also like understand any emerging issues. And then what they'll also be able to do is that they can install the Podium app on their phone, and then if they're roaming around the paddock, or if they're like standing near turn three and they want to watch the car go by while looking at the telemetry, then they can have like a mini version of that live dashboard on their phone, so that they can, um, just they can make a small abbreviated version of like a list of sensors they're watching, so they can look at that while they watch the car go by, and then just get a sense of what's happening. So you can there's a way to view what the car is doing at, under any circumstance, like if you're in the pits or if you're walking around, or if even if you're at home, you have a race coach or a team member that can't make it to the race but wants to keep an eye on the car, then that's certainly possible.
And if I were to make a wish list for racing with telemetry, we've tried just about all of them. There's a few that we haven't done, like the higher end ones, like the full Motec and stuff. We haven't done those, but pretty much all the amateur grassroots levels we've either tried or I think we've tried them all. The one thing that seems to be somewhat the baseline standard is the AIM system, but I believe from our earlier conversation, you are now able to solve one of the biggest problems I have with the AIM system, which is their software could use a little love, their interface maybe, and we can use your system as that interface, not only making it easier to use, but also making it live as opposed to at the end of the day or the end of the weekend.
Oh yeah. Yeah, AIM has a very powerful software suite.
It does.
Yeah, they do they do a really good job on it. I think where we shine is that once the data is gets live streamed off of the car, it's like immediately in the cloud, and then you can see it live during the race, but then afterwards, the data is just there on your device, whether it's at home on your laptop or on your phones. It's always there at a moment's notice, so you can look at it anywhere on any device. So like, let's say if you're out having coffee or drinks with friends, you're like, what was the oil pressure on that turn? That high G turn at that last race. Well, you could be like, you can ignore your friends, at dinner and pull out your phone and like take a look at the data, and it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, it looks like there was some oil starvation. It looks like we really do need to order that baffle. So, but yeah, it's like you can access your data in a detailed way on any device anywhere. So that I think that's the part that we're like super excited about bringing to racers everywhere.
So does that mean I can't make the joke about the AIM systems being the most expensive lap timer in the world anymore?
Well, the yeah, I think the classic problems with a lot of these data systems is that there's that friction of getting the data off the system.
Yeah, using
And
it.
then
Yeah.
if that gets stuck on the laptop that's dedicated to the race car, then that might get squirreled away with the race car in the race trailer, and then
Hmm.
you won't be able to really access it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, definitely enhances your existing investment, and that's really what we're after. Like it does a great job being a ruggedized dashboard for your race car, and then we really complement it by adding the ability to stream that data off and just making it super accessible for yourself, or even comparing with friends. So let's say if you've done laps at a particular racetrack, and then you want to see what your data looks like compared to, let's say, your friend a few weeks ago, or like your event last year, you can bring those two together very easily and just overlay that. So, like, let's say Randy Popes puts down some laps in a Miata at Sonoma Raceway or something like that, and you want to be like, how do I race against Randy, or like some other, like high-end race car driver? You'd be able to do that if you
Right.
if you can find their data and they share it with you.
So let's just walk through this. This isn't only for endurance racing. Let's pretend that we're like a NASA sprint racer. I don't know. Let's code name Con. If they had
No.
if they had a sprint race and they have an aim system, maybe like a Solo 2 or DL or something like that, and
Yeah.
they integrated that into your system, they would need to get cameras. They already have cameras though, right? Most of the
You don't
time.
you don't need a camera, but I think what in order to use it with like an AIM solo, like a solo DL,
Yeah.
then you just need like the AIM hub
The hub, yeah.
that plugs into the back of the DL, and then that kind of breaks out their CAN bus
Yep.
connections. AIM does a really nice job with their plug and play harness, and that's something we've kind of been inspired from
Hmm.
with our own plug and play harness system. So it's like you just plug it together and it works. But it's nice because you get their hub, plug it into the AIM system, get the their their
Data stream.
the either it's a powered hub or the other hub, and then you plug Podium Connect Micro into it, and then we have what they call the Bender connector
Hmm.
that goes right into that, and it's just plug and play with that system. So they would get that, and then they would need a hotspot in the car. You could get away with a like a consumer grade hotspot, or you can get like a pro level hotspot, like the PepWave
Hmm.
makes a device, or you could just use your phone in a pinch,
Right.
right? Just like have your phone, like tuck it away somewhere, turn on the hotspot, and then that'll work. And then once that's all set up, then it'll just automatically live stream the data to Podium.
So then your interface would essentially be turn car on, turn on the aim, make sure your hotspot's rolling, do your race and then look at your podium that you've set up, and now you can interact with your data with no need to bust out a laptop or download, and
Yeah,
it's
like the data is just there, already there for the pit crew to see, or race coaches, or as soon as you step out of the car, it's like ready to access.
Miss Vicky,
Yeah.
you know what I want.
Yeah.
It's
And
pretty obvious.
yeah.
Okay. Well, so tell me what's going to make Miss Vicky say yes to my plead and request, or at least make Santa say yes. A few months from now, Santa takes care of me.
The thing is that every system that we have, and I'm not really a data person, but I just don't have at the at this point it's just trying to get to the capacity of everything else that I'm doing to just get to the data part, which usually is Bill's part end of it. But it just seems like every system that we have has its strengths and then has its weaknesses, and we have yet to find that perfect little niche of what it is. Like I kind of like the aim, not
The
the aim,
Apex Pro.
but the Apex Pro only because it I guess it's because the lines that go across, like I don't even get to the data part. The lines that go across just they give me, I guess, the grip of my tire the way I'm driving, which I kind of enjoy that part because it's almost like in the
That
moment.
real-time feedback, yeah.
It's almost like, yeah, but I haven't even gotten the data of like going online and like kind of sort of what I'm doing on the phone. And then we have the Sentinel system, and I like the Sentinel system. It's complicated. It's to get it going and understanding all the bits apart it. But we finally kind of got that set, and then we have the Garmin, which is kind of cool. You have the car that's kind of going in there, and it's like the shadow car that goes around, and you could check your data there.
Hmm.
And then the other system, which I just got, is the AIM system that sits in the dashboard. What is that one, Bill?
It's an aim. It's creatively called an aim dashboard.
Okay, yeah. So it kind of fit. I haven't even used that yet.
You've used it.
So
You haven't
that
looked at it.
is, yeah. So we're
I
we're
have.
kind of ticking off these and finding like the ones that kind of work. And granted, we have various cars, so you know, with the little Ames, not the little Aim system, the Apex Pro, we're kind of like, oh yeah, you want to borrow this? Sure. And we'll,
Hmm.
give it to the person next to us. But like the Sentinel system, that's like wired into your car. So, it's just amazing, like, trying to find the sweet spot on all these things on what exactly works and and I know this Sentinel system to me, like I'm techno Amish. So it's, when it comes to stuff like that. So the Sentinel system is really kind of hard to grasp for me, but it's a great system.
There is
Um,
zero chance she will ever use the aim software, though. The stuff that Jackie was using when we were there.
yeah, well, it's
It's not for
it.
you.
No, it's not even that.
Yeah.
It's I think it's just because my part in the race team hasn't gotten me to that part. So for me, it's like the more simple the better because I just don't have capacity for mine. Um,
I think a lot of times you know when you want to look at data is when you have a specific question to answer. You're like you're
right,
like, okay, what happened? Right?
right.
Like that's the initial like thing that happened because some incident happens or like something went sideways with the engine or like why
Mm-hmm.
are why are the brakes fading? What's going on? And then
Yeah,
it always stems from that. Okay, what's going on here?
yeah,
And then you have some questions and then you start trying to answer them. So yeah, like yeah,
yeah.
people
My role is just keeping the car running.
yeah.
Is usually, so so we kind of we hand over the data to Bill, and then it's just a matter of trying to decipher it. And then we have coaches now coming on.
Yeah. Or like if depending some cars are really sensitive to money shifting, right?
Yes. Yep.
So like if you have a bunch of valves that are bent, you can be like, okay, so what happened? And you can like go back in the data and be able to identify that. Or like in the case of if it's like, um, so here's an example of how you can avoid that scenario is like, let's say you have a new driver that's not really familiar with the car and they're like shifting into second gear on that particular corner. And everybody on the team knows it's like, don't do that. Just leave it in third, right? It's fine. You're not gonna go any faster by, shifting in a second. But there's a risk in that, right? Because you might downshift early, over rev it, like lock up the rears. If
Hmm.
it's rear wheel drive. You won't know what they're doing
Right.
Yeah.
if you can't see what they're actually doing. Like your pit crew could be like, you might have that channel that indicates what gear they're in, and then if it goes to like second gear, then third gear, you'd be like, get on the radio. It's like, you don't need to downshift in a second. Don't do that. You
Hmm.
know? And then that's kind of a preventative measure, and then that might be a way to like save the car, like from somebody who's just not familiar with it. And then you can, finish your race. So that's one example of what you can do. But those are particular questions that can be answered versus just like, I'm going to look at the data. I don't know, like it's kind of like you have a question to answer and then the tools can help you answer those.
So, just to give the audience a perspective, the best way I describe this is it looks like it's about the size of a normal transponder. And yes, I have asked Brent if he could make it into a transponder. It's on the to-do list. I'm not sure where it's on there, but it's not high. He's got a lot of stuff to do. It's about the size of a transponder, and it's got a cable coming out of it. It's like, yeah, I don't know, 8 inches or so, something like that. Just to give people a perspective of
It's
what they're
tiny.
talking about. It is
Yeah.
really small. It's
Yeah.
Easy Pass is bigger than this. I don't know if Easy Pass is on the West Coast for you, Brent.
Easy pass. Yeah, it's probably bigger.
Yeah. So fits in any car, can talk to cars, and depending on how new or good slash the car is, it'll get any data that the car naturally monitors. It can get any data that you then add if you're interested and a lunatic like me. And external sensors, internal sensors, standard CAN bus sensors, which is not a Canadian bus company, just FYI for the home game players. Um, and then you could integrate it with whatever system you have to a point. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a couple weird ones that may not have full compatibility, but we'll see. We'll see how things go.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything,
That-
Brett?
n- no, not really. I think the whole thing we've thrown the word CAN bus around quite a bit, and I guess the way to describe it is like it's kind of like a if in case somebody in the audience isn't familiar with it, it's kind of like let's say you have a network cable, you plug your computer in, instead of using Wi-Fi, it's like a network cable. It's like a simplified version of that designed for automotive and industrial applications. So like
Hmm.
big machinery or maybe spacecraft or are starting to use it, but really popular in automotive. And it's just kind of like a common way of exchanging information between systems. And
Right.
then because it's standardized and there's been a lot of work reverse engineering how to extract information from that bus, then systems like ours can kind of piggyback on that data, like sniff it. It's like a data sniffer, and then it'll be able to pick up that all that juicy interesting information.
Hmm.
And then we decode it, turn it into real world values. Like an engine temperature might be, represented by a collection of bytes. It's like super technical, but then what we do is we have a way of taking that information, turning it into a real world value, like 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and then broadcast that up to Podium where people then you could see it on the dashboard.
Right. And the dashboards are customizable. I've already hit Brent with hey, I want to have all my good set points straight up. So I
Oh
need to be able to
yeah.
spin my gauges. And he's like, yeah, no problem. We got that. We got you
Right. It's
covered.
like you take your RPM gauge and clock it.
Yeah.
So you're
Don't
so
go
like
past
your
vertical.
point is
Don't go past
perfect.
vertical. Yeah. Did you money shift? No, no. Did you over rev the engine? No, no. Well, that's
That
not
never happened.
exactly true. But the red line is at 7,000 and you went to 12. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's why the engine's making that funny noise that doesn't sound very good. Uh, trying to think, was there anything else that we missed on this?
We're doing some really actually with this product launch, the the stuff that what we've done, all along is really pertinent to endurance racing, like all the real-time monitoring,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to do um engine monitor your engine, that's a classic one.
Yep.
Real-time driver coaching, you're able to let's say select a fast lap from, let's say you have your team members, you have fast and slow drivers, you can select a fast lap and then watch the live speed trace
Right.
being compared against that fast driver with the current driver. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can kind of give them some tips, maybe over the radio, like, hey, try to, you know, go a little bit deeper into that corner, or, just give them some tips that kind of help them level up during the race.
Yeah. Like
Um,
push the gas pedal all the way down. All the way
don't
down. Not the half of it, all the way down.
yeah. But with this product launch, we were thinking, okay, we could make some general improvements across the board, but then we thought, our sweet spot really is endurance racing in terms of like our main audience right now, at least. And wouldn't it be cool if we did some really specific endurance racing features?
Mm-hmm.
And so a few things that we're doing that really only aligns with endurance racing. It doesn't apply to like sprint racing or time attack, but just the endurance racing use case. Going back to that the niche within a niche, we're like a few levels down in terms of motorsports niches. So
Mm-hmm.
endurance racing is kind of a special world because it's like a team sport,
Yep.
Hmm.
and the way you race as a team is can be quite different than like stringing. Let's say you have six drivers or four drivers. You're endurance racing when you're really thinking about it, like trying to do well. Maybe not winning, but you're trying, right?
Right.
It's like you start transcending beyond um, a number of sprint races linked together with fuel stops.
Right.
You start thinking about an actual endurance racing strategy. So a few things that we're doing to kind of enhance this system specifically for endurance racing is like, well, actually, we kind of have three major areas. So one of them is we're doing automatic driver identification, uh, so that laps as they're being recorded or broadcasted are tagged with the current driver in the car. And the way we're doing that is we are doing that through a Bluetooth device. So if the driver has a Bluetooth device on their body, then our system can automatically detect that and say like, oh, it's driver one or driver two that's in the car. And then who is actually putting down, all those laps, because endurance racing, you maybe have like 350 laps across a race.
Yep.
So yeah, so we can work with if the driver has a Bluetooth device on them, we can automatically detect that. And then kind of a cool bonus feature is that if you're using like a heart rate monitor, so if they're wearing a heart rate monitor is a Bluetooth device that has a unique ID that can identify the driver, but we can also read the current heart rate of the driver, and that shows up like a bonus telemetry channel. So you can kind of see you know, how calm they are during the
Yeah.
race.
Yeah, that's what it is. Calm.
I remember an early race at Sonoma where it took me like a third of the stint to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it would be interesting to see what my heart rate was at that time, because it was your typical lemons race with, like way too many cars, way too much traffic, and yeah, that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm expecting as soon as this episode is listened to by one of our friends and at least part-time listener, Scott, he will be contacting me or contacting you directly about the heart rate monitor because that's like uh, one of his little squirrel areas that he wants to dig into a whole lot more. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be
Yeah, we
that'll be
actually
quite
just
fun.
been we're testing that this week. So it's like I've like wearing a couple of heart rate monitors on my wrist and like switching between the two, and then like driver one, driver two, and then making sure, fixing all the bugs.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
that
yeah.
part's been fun.
I think it would be endlessly fun to have Vicky in the pit area watching everything, and then I slip off my heart rate monitor, and she thinks I died. That would be tremendous.
Oh, geez. No.
She's like, "I'm rich, finally rid of him."
I want to we were looking for it's not quite there yet. A few of the devices does SpO2, like blood oxygen
Oh yeah,
saturation, but
yep,
I think that's coming eventually. So, when that's a thing, then we'll find out if you're like getting asphyxiated.
yeah, that would be nice because
There's an
occasionally,
exhaust leak.
occasionally it's not the beer that they had the night before. Occasionally, it truly is an exhaust leak, and you should bring them in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it's
this
like
is
I have this weird headache every time I
yeah,
drive the car.
yeah.
Um,
No.
Vicky says that, and then she says, "Why don't you give the radio to somebody else on the team so my headache can go away?" And I'm like, "Yes,
Oh.
dear,
yeah.
different story."
Yeah,
Um, Go
yeah,
ahead.
the other thing that we're doing is that kind of going back to the racecraft of endurance racing. We're adding this feature where the pit crew can specify a target lap time for the driver, and this all kind of comes down to the whole philosophy that with endurance racing, and again, different from sprint or time attack, endurance racing, the fastest lap time isn't necessarily the best lap time, and there are for reasons, but the which we'll get into, but the pit crew will be able to uh, choose a target lap time and literally send it to the car in what we call reverse telemetry.
Mm-hmm.
So when they send that target lap time to the car, it shows up to the driver. Let's say if they're running our auxiliary dashboard, it'll show up that target lap time will be registered in the system, and then they can see a delta between their current predictive lap time and that target time, and then be able to drive to match that target. So they'll see like a plus or minus indicator, like you're going too fast or too slow. And there are a variety of reasons to have a target lap time. One of them is, let's say you have a race series that has a do not go faster than this time, like
Like a
Lucky
bracket
Dog.
challenge or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like 'cause they have their super dog time, and let's say you're an A-class car, and a lot of A-class cars nowadays can easily surpass that. So if you can set a like a that do not go faster than this time, then that can save them from being penalized.
Right.
Hmm.
It can also help when you have certain drivers who may have misplaced notions that the most important thing for the weekend is for them to have the fastest lap. You can have a lap and say, "Do not go faster than this lap, sir or miss," and do not break my car because that is not the most important thing
Yeah.
to the race. So yeah, it's a team sport, and everything good and bad comes with that. So
It's
it's
it's true, yeah. Like it really is more than just like a bunch of drivers like casually comparing their lap times between stints.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, so the other thing that kind of that dovetails into the target lap time is this feature we're doing for fuel strategy and pit stop strategy. And again, this is like only pertains to endurance racing. So what we're doing for fuel strategy is that we're coming up with a very specific endurance racing strategy tool that will help drivers track their average fuel consumption versus lap time,
Hmm.
and then automatically recommend the fastest lap time for that least fuel consumption. And then on top of that, we're going to predict the fuel stops based on that fuel consumption. And then with the ultimate goal of optimizing how your race finishes, because what you don't want to do is have that like last second pit stop, like a splash and go, which can cost you, maybe two, three, 4 laps.
Right.
So the thing with fuel consumption and lap time is that there's a non-linear relationship between the how fast you're going and your fuel consumption. So you might be like consuming fuel at a certain rate at a given lap time, but if you start going for it, right, and you start going a lot faster, that fuel consumption is going to go up a lot faster or higher than the lap time that you're gaining.
Right.
So there is really like a sweet spot between like that relationship between your lap time and that fuel consumption. So we can call it like the Goldilocks zone for that
Mhm.
particular, let's say that what the car can do, because
Right.
that's like a function of like your engine's efficiency and your drivetrain efficiency, your aerodynamics, what the track is like. There could be that sweet spot that you target. And then we'll have a tool that will recommend using some machine learning to pick a lap time that is kind of ideal based on you know fuel consumption versus lap time. Pick that lap time, and then you'll be able to send it to the car using that like target lap time thing we just talked about.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Then your driver can drive to that optimal lap time, and then that could stretch out your stint as much as possible, like driving as fast as possible with the best fuel consumption.
Right.
And then I'm doing a lot of hand waving, but there's
It's okay. It's a
we have
non-audio. It's audio
right,
only. They don't see it.
trying to describe something visual here, but there's a chart that will visualize like as your fuel is consumed, the laps are getting clicked off, and then there's a fuel stop, and you'll be able to specify how long your fuel stop is, and then this chart will just show how many fuel stops you have between like now and the end of the race, and then with the goal of you want to finish the race with the right amount of fuel. You obviously don't want to finish short because you're going to run out of fuel before the end of the race.
Right.
Like that happened to me at Laguna Seca just before the corkscrew.
Oh,
Um,
well, it's all
we
downhill from
like
there, Brent.
yeah, I know. It's like I was almost there and I could coast into the pits, but I didn't make it. But you want to finish with just the right amount of fuel, and then you're having a good day with your fuel strategy. So yeah, this is something super specific to endurance racing, and when we kind of came up with this, we're like, oh yeah, I think people they're gonna want this because it'll make their racing and their overall race strategy a much more conscious effort rather than, just going as fast as you can, like linking sprint races together with fuel stops
Right. Otherwise known as Saturday races, right?
versus
Mm.
Sunday races.
Versus Sunday races. Yeah. 'Cause that's when the cars go boom.
Right, right.
So none of
Yeah,
our
there's definitely
cars.
a different dynamic on Sunday,
Yeah,
especially Sunday afternoon.
exactly. So people want to talk to you. People want to see this. People want to check into it. Where would they go?
So they can go to autosportlabs.com and then we'll have all the information for Podium Connect Micro. And you can definitely email us at sales@autosportlabs.com. And we'd be happy to talk to you, schedule a video call to kind of go over it. We've been doing a lot of webinars, and I think it's kind of funny. Like it's been transformative for me because I'm really getting a lot out of just talking to racers, either one-on-one or in a group setting, and finding out what's important to them, and getting feedback. When we initially designed this fuel strategy, we had like 10 or I don't know how many webinars we had, like just presenting this to racers, and they gave us a lot of great feedback on how to even improve this fuel strategy some more. So we love talking to people. So yeah, definitely reach out. Find me on social media or email us, and I'd love to talk to you. Um, yeah.
That's where you get your new products. If you have people that are your customer and they say, "Hey, that's great. Would is it possible to do this?" The correct answer is either yes or not yet.
Ooh, yeah, it is. That is a tough one because there's, the thing that wakes me up at 4 a.m. is like, oh, that feature still isn't there, right?
Yeah,
We still didn't do that X or Y thing, and people really want that. So it's tough. Like it's tough prioritizing what you do.
you.
Back then,
The two things I know is you can't outwork a to-do list and you can't out work a fork.
oh man,
So
yeah,
there's always good ideas. Some of them are better. So that's the
yeah.
challenge. But I can't wait to see this. I want to play with it. I want Christmas to be here. What is it? April Christmas? April Christmas? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what we can do.
It is April Christmas. Yeah, it's we will be shipping this month. We're just getting the last bits of inventory in, and we just got our retail packaging in,
Sweet.
and it's
And
all the
this,
little things, right? It's
yeah,
it's like
The fun stuff.
it's the sausage factory.
yeah. And this isn't your only toy. You've got other toys. So, there's plenty of stuff to look at with you. So, you're always solving problems. So, and we do appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, I think we definitely we've come a long ways in terms of just making our system easier to use. And I think one of the early knocks was just like, this thing's hard to use. I have to be like a techie to use it. And we're like, at first we kind of resisted it as like, well, it's complicated, but then we really like internalized it. And we were mentioning the Tire X sensors before, but we really had kind of the light bulb went off and we're thinking like this could be a lot easier to set up if we had like a plug and play harness system. And so we put a ton of work in making the system easier to use, and in both the software, the hardware, and also the instructional videos that we'll do to get people going because we 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 really we really want the first time experience to be like something that people enjoy and they feel really satisfied using it. So yeah, that's all the humbling feedback that we've received, and we internalize it and kind of move forward. So we really do appreciate that.
No worries. I think we've
Nice.
we've used almost everything you've ever made. I think we have a couple things that are no longer available, so we're waiting for the collector's item status so we can make some money off of those. But we got time. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, we do have like a little museum at our lab that has our first gen products, and I look at them every time I walk by and like leave the lab, and it's like, yeah. I wish I had the wisdom back then that I have now.
You
That's
were
for sure.
always working towards better. That's all that matters.
Right.
Betterer.
Better.
Better.
You can't without expecting perfection, right? Because
No,
perfection is the enemy of the good. You
it's
just
the
can't
enemy
get
of getting anything done. That's for sure.
that's for sure, right? You'll never be finished.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. So let's try and get together a little more often. Either you need to make stuff faster or we need to call you more often. So it's been way too long and we didn't even get to talk about how your racing and driving has been going. So we at least have another episode. So that'll get you one step closer to that free swag for 5 times. 5 times.
Nice.
I want free swag. Yeah,
Free
maybe
swag.
next time we'll talk about our EV conversion with our Exomotive Exoset.
That sounds like fun. I can
Yeah.
get a charge out of that. But dad joke complete for today. Thank you, Brett.
Ah,
Thanks
thank
so much.
you.
Yeah.